Uncertainty over the future of the Free National Movement continues. A new contender for leadership of the Progressive Liberal Party emerges. And Minister of National Security, Dr. Bernard Nottage, weathers stark criticism as the country's murder toll climbs to 100. We've got all these stories and more. I'm your host, Ava Turnquest, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. Continuing his government's defense against a recent credit rating downgrade by an international agency, Prime Minister Perry Christie this week hit out at Standard & Poor's downgrade as pessimistic as he assured the country that it was on the cusp of economic growth. Last week, S&P downgraded the Bahamas' credit rating due to the economic shock from Bahamar's bankruptcy filing. In the House of Assembly on Wednesday, Mr. Christie insisted that his administration has a clear vision of the policy framework needed to redress public finances, and that this made him confident that the country was on the cusp of economic growth. Mr. Christie, who is also Minister of Finance, questioned the recent downgrade from S&P, suggesting that he had concerns about the agency's credibility. Bahamas stakeholders have been engaged in a bitter court battle for weeks over the resort's future, and a U.S. bankruptcy judge recently ordered all parties involved to keep talking ahead of a September 4th hearing in the Supreme Court about the government's winding up petition. Mr. Christie said there should be no doubt among Bahamians that his administration remains committed to the timely resolution of the Bahamar dispute and the resort's completion in a manner that works out in the best interest of the country. On Monday, another major international credit rating agency, Moody's, maintained its existing rating and outlook on the country's creditworthiness. Former chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Reynard Rigby, hinted that he might run for the position of PLP leader at the party's convention in November. His veiled announcement comes after he challenged party leader hopefuls to put themselves up for nomination regardless of whether Prime Minister Perry Christie decided to seek another term. At the time, Mr. Rigby said politicians could not expect leadership to be handed to them on a silver platter and forecast that Mr. Christie will remain tight-lipped over his political future because he expected contenders to battle it out just as he did. However, when contacted by the Tribune to elaborate on his declaration that he had put his name on the list, Mr. Rigby declined to say if this meant he will be challenging incumbent party leader Perry Christie at the upcoming convention. He stressed that the PLP has to begin the transition to new leadership sooner than later and must court young voters if it wants to hold on to power. He also underscored the need for fresh blood. Earlier this year, Minister of Tourism Obi Wilchcombe and Minister of Works Philip Brave Davis both revealed their ambitions of leading the PLP and one day becoming Prime Minister. However, both men said they would not challenge Mr. Christie for the party's top post if he decided to stay on. Underscoring the critical need for his party to connect with Bahamians, former Deputy Prime Minister Frank Watson admitted that he was still unsure over whether the Free National Movement leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis, could marshal the party into victory in the 2017 general elections. Mr. Watson told the FNM that it was hard to see the party securing a victory in this country's next general election unless the Free National Movement worked harder to connect with Bahamians on key issues. He said that although leader Dr. Minnis appeared to be trying harder than in the past, he was not sure if this was enough. He also suggested that while the party was prepared to give Dr. Minnis a shot, the Killarney MP's performance would ultimately be reviewed as the party geared up for full election campaign mode. Seeking to set the record straight, however, later in the week, after his comments reportedly set off a firestorm among FNM supporters, Mr. Watson explained that his words were only an admonishment to all FNMs to unite in order to unseat the fumbling Christie administration. In direct contradiction of his stance while in opposition, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage this week claimed that he never blamed the former government for the escalating crime problem. Dr. Nottage made the turnaround as he defended himself from recent criticism that his national address on crime lacked innovative ideas. He said his detractors did not understand the root of the vexing crime problem. Dr. Nottage stressed that the government cannot wave a magic wand and erase crime, adding that those who expected a quick fix on the issue had a sad awakening coming. Dr. Nottage told reporters that crime was not the fault of the government but of a troubled society, and stated that while others in the Progressive Liberal Party may have made crime a political issue while in opposition, he himself had never blamed the former administration. Despite his claim to the contrary, however, Dr. Nottage was a vocal critic of the Ingham administration's crime-fighting policies while he was in opposition. Speaking in the House of Assembly in June 2011, he said the ineffectiveness of the FNM to address growing crime trends and concerns to ensure that crime was kept at manageable levels had resulted in a crime explosion. The country's murder count continues to climb, seemingly unabated, this week reaching 100, some 2 months ahead of last year's pace. Last year, the Bahamas did not record 100 murders until the first week of November. At the end of August 2014, the country had recorded 84 homicides, according to police statistics. This year's count climbed to 100 after police on Thursday classified the death of a man who died in hospital. Police have launched an official homicide investigation into the death of 64-year-old John Henry Fraser after he was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital on August 24th, suffering from injuries to his body. He died in hospital on August 26. Mr. Fraser's family believes that he was beaten and robbed before he died. A relative told the Tribune that Fraser was assaulted while attempting to repair a flat tire on his vehicle in the Collins Avenue and Gibbs Corner area. The relative said that Fraser managed to contact his mother while on the way to the hospital, informing her of what had happened to him. Fraser's heart reportedly failed during surgery and he was pronounced dead a short time later. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Like us on Facebook, Tribune News Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune242. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or log on to our website, Tribune242.com. And also making headlines this week, the Bahamas welcomes a new species of hummingbird, the Inaugural Woodstar.